Yeah, I'm fine. So it's an interesting day to finally have a conversation and sit down with you. That doesn't come around usually.
And I know this conversation, I've been looking forward to this conversation ever since I knew you were coming. I was like, okay, now there's a lot that we're going to dive into. I'm willing to learn myself, opening myself to learn from you. But I know that the community is as well open to learn from you. But we would want to know, who is Denis?
Denis.
Yes, we know about the farming, we know about the pages, what we see, but remember, you choose what to give us.
Exactly. There's that filtered information that we usually don't tell the world.
Exactly.
For example, nobody knows that I'm a total orphan.
Really?
Yeah, I grew up without a mother and a father. Nobody knows that because I've never put it out until today.
Wow.
Yes. So my name is Denis Duke Woniala. I am Mugisu by the name Woniala. Imbalu, now you know what I'm talking about.
I know, from the hills, from the
hills
mountains.
Of Mount Elgon. Yeah, it's such a wonderful place. Have you been there?
Yes, I've been there several times.
Yeah.
I just love the surrounding, not just the weather, because then we share the weather with the whole of but there is just that serenity.
Yeah, something special about it. So I come from the hills of Mount Elgon. I am a father of 3 children, married. I am a journalist by profession, irrespective of
everything else.
I am a journalist because then that's what I trained for professionally.
Okay.
I am an entrepreneur. I run a couple of things. Just to be specific, we have the Duke's Farm. It's a farm that deals in rabbits, and now we're introducing goats, and then later we shall go into chickens. And then we have Sungura House. It's a restaurant that majorly deals in rabbit meat, but we also have other meats.
I'm so coming to Sungura House.
Please, come
now that
around.
We've had this chat.
Yes. And then some baby company that is yet to come up is going to be the Duke's Properties, where we've been doing it, but behind the door.
Okay.
But this time around, I think early next year, probably around January, just setting things right.
You want to unveil it.
Yeah, unveil it. But of course, those that are watching today have gotten at least a glimpse
of
yes, but it's going to be a property and land and everything company.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Construction, all that in there.
Okay.
So in a nutshell,
and all those ideas in
sorry?
All those ideas in one package.
In one package, because we are going to majorly base on what is not in the country. Majority of people, most especially service providers, are not honest. A lot of people want to buy land, want to buy property, but there is a lot of fraudsters within the business.
I know, and
so,
we become afraid. We
yes.
a lot of people have even failed to take a step to even save or to even consult.
A lot of people have lost money in this thing of buying and selling of property.
Yeah.
So we want to come and change the entire landscape. It's going to be a roller coaster.
I know.
For not just us, but our competitors. Trust me.
I know.
It's going to be, because I am going to give it my best.
You want to turn the tables.
Yes.
For
Things
good.
are going to be different.
For good. And this is the generation I think and this is the generation I think we're really getting into. I think we are getting into buying from trusted sources right now, and then recommendation.
I will tell you that majority of clients or people that I work on are through referrals. And even me myself, before I give you a deal, I want to know whom have you worked on.
Yeah.
So usually what I do is I ask my friends, can you plug me with somebody that does this? They will definitely give me the right person that I need.
That's
somebody
true.
that they've trusted.
That's
so I give them my money without any fears.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is Denis Duke. Denis Duke told us something that took us off the wheel at the beginning. You being our total orphan. Where does that start?
Well, in 1993, my father dies. I was born, I think I was very little. And my mother dies in 1995, a difference of about 2 years or 1.5 years. So that meant that I was a total orphan, no parent living. Life wasn't easy. If anybody out there has been an orphan before, or they are an orphan, they know exactly what I'm talking about. So it was my guardians, my dad's uncles and aunties or sisters that actually took care of me. to where I am today.
You to school,
So
how do you
yes,
end up in
so
Watoto?
perfect. So one of my aunties picks me up, I think in 1995, takes me to Kenya. And so I stayed in Kenya for about 2 to 5 years around there. Because my memory is not very, very vivid, but I remember around 1995, 96, that was about 30 years ago.
Yes.
That's when I got to Kenya. I was there about up until 2001. So I started my kindergarten, nursery there. And then I come back to Uganda. And then I go and in the village. I studied in that village, villages of Bulambuli. Anybody that knows Bulambuli, it's after Sironko, after Mbale, Sironko, deep in the village. So that's where I go, that's where my father is born, and that's where my ancestral home is. That's where my aunties are. So I kept, what is funny with me is I almost stayed at almost every, my grandfather gave birth to 10 children. My dad died, so it meant they remained 9.
Yeah.
I literally stayed at almost
each of their homes.
And you know what that means. So I started with my aunt in Kenya. I came to Uganda. So I was switching homes. Of course, it had an impact.
The trauma.
Yes, the trauma, and then following up with education.
The
was
lack
quite
of belonging.
Exactly. So eventually I do my P7, and then I come to Mbale, where I did my O and A level. But I'll tell you that things were not easy. I remember times when schools requested us to bring our parents. I had nobody, because even the person that was taking care of me, whom I currently call dad, was equally very busy with
and
her own. Yes. So, but I want to commend them. They did a great job. With the little that they could afford. They did sacrifice for me.
Wow.
Because somebody picking 100,000 shillings at that time, early 2000 is what we are talking about, was a lot of money.
Yeah.
They are not paying for their own children, but for a child whose parents died.
Whose future they don't know about.
They don't
what
even
you're
know.
Going to turn
Who would
into...
want to invest in somebody that they are not even sure? In fact, some of my something like something like that. And of course I get to know these things at a later stage. I'm like, oh, this is really weird.
Yeah.
But it was what was on ground, because back then, 30 years ago, people were dying of HIV like it was nobody's business.
Yeah.
Everybody didn't know exactly what to do.
No treatment, nothing.
No treatment, nothing, and even day.
That's true.
So they had that victimization and
yes.
you know, stigmatization.
Yeah.
So
but they did the most important.
Yeah,
they gave
did.
You food.
They gave me food.
Took you to school.
Yeah, took me
You
to
had
school.
somewhere to put your head.
And then I also commend myself, because if I was this person that, when I knew that, okay, I'm a total orphan, I knew everything now was on me.
Yeah.
If I fail, if I go through,
you don't have the luxury to play around.
No fallback whatsoever. So I knew one thing: be a humble boy, be a good mannered.
Get through life.
Kusindika kuduka, duka komao. Yoze amasowani,
there.
do that. Yoze, you get simula wali. That's the kind
like
of
tewali ntondo, tewali kwekwasa, tewali.
And I think I have, even until today, even the times I was working in companies, I was that person, because I had grown up.
No, that's character.
Yeah.
That is character. It creates grit.
Yes.
You know, the grit to keep going,
Exactly.
even when it's an uphill.
Yes.
Wow.
So for me, that is it. Everybody that I stayed with was like, yes, they didn't find anything bad with me. They would take care of me very, very well, because I was that
you were humble
you
boy. Were meek.
Yes. So I stayed with one of my aunties in Bale for like a year or so. Then I went to now the person I call my dad. He's amazing, wonderful. He just gave me exactly what I needed. He protected me. He provided for me. Let me tell you.
Still your uncle?
Yeah, he's my uncle,
Okay.
but of course we in Africa we call them daddy.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Because they are his.
So that's the last one you go to now.
I beg your pardon.
That was the last one of the whole.
Yes.
Trotting and
so
hopping.
let me so there were 5 males that my grandfather children. My dad died, so they remained 4. I'll tell you that he's the only one that stood with me most of the times.
Wow.
Because he in simple
Yes,
terms, so
yes.
he did all this. Let me tell you, even if he used to give me 1,000 a day, my friend, that was a lot.
I know.
And I don't know how much I can ever repay that. Of course, I can't ever repay.
You can't.
But it meant a lot. It meant that I had some transport to school, because I was in a day school, and then I had at least 500K, rather 500 to eat, because I'm talking about 2,000, 500 shillings. You'd go to a restaurant and eat a meal, honestly speaking. So that was the life that I lived, at least for the most or better part of my childhood.
But during that time, did you ever have any thoughts? Because as a person who thinks I don't have any fallback place, definitely you develop faster than your counterparts.
That's very true.
You think about the future a little bit more.
If I got 5,000, I would not spend it all. I would eat 1,000 and keep 4,000.
Back in those years.
Back in those days. Why? Because I knew if I needed a cloth, and you know when you ask somebody and they're like, Sina said, what do you do? Nothing.
You have to give it to yourself.
Exactly. So I grew up with the mentality of saving and being accountable for literally everything that I
but bad situations
teach us the most.
They teach us the most.
Yes. And so my life has been like that even today. Every time I have a challenge, I'm not this kind of person who will run around, who to help me. No, I'll sit down. Of course, I know it's not very good. You need to be outgoing. But it is something that has been with me for a very long time. I'm trying so much to deal with it. Some of these things, you can't deal with them in a day.
Yeah. They take a lifelong
For example,
journey.
I don't go to clubs more often. Why? Because while growing up, I just didn't want to annoy the people that I was staying with. So I literally avoided anything that was considered bad at that time. So that, and even until today, past 6 p.m. I want to run home. You know, once in a while friends come in and like, oh, let's do live band. So I'm like, oh, cool, let's go.
But still, you're not taken up and
even
excited.
Even then when I'm there, I'm enjoying, but I'm like, Time. I will tell you, at 11 p.m. if I'm out, everybody that is close to me will tell you then this is now about to leave, and I'll leave and I'll go home. Because
there's a discipline that you have created.
Absolutely.
And you know that those things don't go. I grew up with my parents, but still in luck and so much like that. But what you said, they never go away from your brain, that you become a saver by habit.
By habit, yes.
Like so you anticipate.
Where people are being taught, oh guys, they're being reminded, save.
You don't need a reminder.
For me, it is automatic.
Like you feel, in bad days, I have to count on myself.
Exactly.
So now, I don't have the luxury.
I am me.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Because until recently, I had this, oh, wait, I cannot always depend on me. Let me go out there, let me get a loan if I need financial capacity. Let me get somebody to, otherwise, previously. But
still, it's calculated.
Yeah, of course, not just anyhow. But like I told you, my childhood groomed me into the man that you are right now. Yes.
Wow. And did you ever have any dreams of I want to be this when I grow up? What dreams were those?
I wanted, there are two things that I wanted to be, a singer and a journalist.
Wait, so were you singing then?
Yeah, I was in MDD.
Oh,
I was in school. Very good at MDD, trust me.
Wow.
I used to do those folk songs.
I know.
We used to go to competitions, inter-school and stuff like that.
Back then they used to sing those hunting songs and what?
I even remember around early 2000, I think, somewhere, around 2006 or 7, we came to Kampala. That was my first time coming to Kampala. And we were competing at National Theatre and then at Old Kampala. So that's my first time coming to Kampala, and it was because I was in the MDD group of my school. Trust me, I was good.
So what dayo tewalota Kampala?
When at dayo, I had always wanted to come to Kampala, but you see, you can't just wake up in the morning and come. I pretty much don't have relatives here, so all my relatives are in Bali and Bukisu region. So one of the relatives that I have is a cousin who is a brother. Why then carry your burden onto somebody? So it was always like, yeah, one day I'll come.
So when did that day come? How do you get into Kampala?
So, and I didn't actually come to stay here. I came to pay a visit to my brother, that I told my cousin, yes. Hey, I was born
You
alone.
brought your burdens?
I was born alone meanwhile.
Really?
Yes. Cousin brothers, they've really done, and I don't feel like I don't have a sister.
Wow.
Because they've been there.
That's amazing.
Anything that I lacked, I ran to them, and they did.
That's favor, eh?
Yes.
That's good.
I choose to come to Kampala to pay a visit to my cousin, just to see the city, you know, but also to look around if I could get a school to do my journalism course. Okay. Remember I told you I wanted to become a journalist. So I had gotten a place in Bali, but they had at IU, they had admitted me, but the problem was they wanted me to stay in school, yet for me, my situation did not allow me. First of all, I had to pay for my own school fees, tuition, stuff like that. So I needed a place that was comfortable for me to chip out, go work in the evening. Yes. So I come to Kampala, I look around, boom, I get a school. I look at the fee structures. That was a little bit affordable for me. So I go back to Mbali after I've eaten.
On your own.
To stay on my own.
Wow. And you know, when we talk about glory to glory, sometimes we never know everyone.
All of us. Now, in every conversation, fired from one place so that he can replace you at another.
Wow.
Yes,
wow.
that's how
redirection.
Sometimes.
Wow.
A challenge, I smile. Not because I am any different from anybody, but because I know that tough times do not last.
Wow.
Tough times, they don't.
Tough people
do
last.
They in fact, they are 6 months, 8 months before
tiring.
You get. Yes. So, but one of the, again, these are people that I will keep mentioning. They've helped me somehow here and there. So the person that had hired me, like a boy, can give him, and she knew me already, maybe at 5 or 5:30. I would leave at sometimes 3:30, depending on what I was gonna do, or at most 4 p.m.
They gave you that allowance.
That allowance, just because I was in school. Now, let me tell you, nobody would want to have somebody that disrupts their normal their system. They want
I know.
Let me tell you, I did whatever I did to be the best employer.
Within those times, within those hours.
Yes.
That way.
If it meant overworking,
missing lunch,
let me do it so that I can impress her. So like,
also, and I want us to draw in that scenario, because in this generation, and I'm speaking from an employer's mind, so the person seeks to actually do the worst.
Let me tell you, employing in Uganda is the worst experience I have had. Let me tell you, it is the worst experience I have had.
And yet on the reverse, I kept telling my husband yesterday, and I was like, I don't know in us whether it was our generation, but up to now, if someone does a favor, I want to outdo myself.
Yeah, true.
In return.
I don't know. I think I belong to your generation. I don't know how old you are, but I was raised.
I'm way older.
I was raised by quite older people, and I saw a couple of other things, but I knew I was good. So I went to NTV looking for a job, and the
after quitting or before quitting?
After quitting. Meanwhile, those are some of the lessons.
So you quit before?
So I had a gentleman whom I will not reveal his names because he's very popular in the media industry. He duped us, me inclusive.
Okay.
He's a media consultant, and he does a lot of media work. He's very popular. If I mentioned his name, anybody would know him.
I think I already know him before you say it.
Okay.
But let's go on.
So he calls us. He wanted to give us a job as a media personality, radio presenter, blah, blah, blah. It was all fake. He gives us an appointment later. So I was like, chai se mudda. I quit. I told them, you know, guys, I really loved working with you, but now I'm going into something that I've actually studied. Like, because this is my thing, you know, I wanted this. Munange, ngamvairi. Olozo mulimu gwalabikako. I went in the okay.
Oli Kampala.
Let me tell you, Kampala here, if you do not have something you're doing,
hot.
I don't. I'm a rich man. If whoever stays in Kampala is rich, because man, the cost of living is high. Almost everything. Toina, what you see in Bali, you run in the market, you run in the garden, you pick a banana, you eat and life is okay. Here, everything
you buy,
you get. So life was really hard. Now, I've quit my job.
They've
this one has
duped
promised,
you.
they've duped me. What do? I cannot go back to where I was. Because I would feel like I was like, nja kuswala. Nasibula ate nkomawo nsaba mulimu. It looks weird. So like, let me push forward. I go to NTV. So after graduation, we did, you see in media, one of the things that I also tell people, there are no jobs in media. You create your sport.
Yep.
I come to you, Bahati, if you're the manager of Spirit TV, I'm like, hey, I have this program that I think is a very great addition to your TV. And if we did this, it would bring us this money, this much. So if you like the idea.
So you get your cut, I get my cut.
Yeah, yes, you create the space for me.
Yes.
There is always space in media. You create it sometimes yourself.
I know, because I'm in media. So.
Exactly. So we shot something that I was always moving around showing people and my first thing, I wanted to become a news anchor. Okay. With no experience, right from school. So I go to NTV and I think it is something that nobody can ever take away from me. I have this huge self-esteem
and self-belief.
You cannot hit me with self-esteem.
Naye omulembe guno twetaaga obba kuba kumpiso.
Nze ate omulembe guno abasajja betaaga kuba miggo. Abasajja balinga ate like tebeekkiririzaamu bali awo.
I'm glad now onyiga nga nze. I don't know what's happening.
Men need to grow up. We need to do a lot of, if we could organize conferences just for men.
Do you think they will come?
They will.
That's the other thing.
There is
some
urgency.
Of them, a handful.
Yes. You know, one by one makes a bundle. Yes. You can start with 10. Those 10 can go.
But I think they need that dose. They need character, grit, stamina, commitment.
You get commitment. Yes. All those things are lacking in today's generation.
I am so self-pity. And they are victims. Exactly, they play a victim in every situation.
This life we are living is not a simple
How do you
life.
even say sitting sente?
This life is not easy. Nothing is easy in this life. The world itself is unfair. Some places are up, some places are down. That's clear. You need to work yourself through. There is nobody that is going to put money on your table. You are. This world or this country is ruled by 20%. In that group of 20%, they don't invite olwana bulwanyi no sambo olujiwe pa nyingi de. Otherwise, if you do not do that, you're going to stay in the 80%, the mediocre class.
More women are kicking the doors.
Absolutely. Because, again, a lot of women have been empowered and a lot of men are not. And
but again, they've been empowered and then they have taken it upon themselves. Because you empower someone who is not willing to act.
Of course. Empowerment has kind of, pushed them to become... but better. Also, do they have an option? Because the men that women used to rely on are not doing their roles anymore. In fact, today morning, just a couple of minutes ago, I posted something and said, I think men are not doing their work because when exactly did women start doing sports betting? You get?
I know.
Things that women used not to do.
They are now doing. They're like, if you can't do it, I'm going to do it.
Because if you don't do it, then who will do it for you? The men have laid back. So, tuvemo okwekubagiza ate munnange nze nafiirwa
nze sina nkwatako nze sina mpa
nze nina abazadde
nze mumpe ntandikwa
ekitegeera tandika n'akatono k'olina start now teweekubagiza ensi eno
just imagine yekubagiza ng'alina n'ettaka eri abazadde be n'abazadde be bakyali balamu talina kyasobola kukola kala genda alunde ku bumyu.
Linda kankubuulire Bahati, you want to tell me that in your entire life bw'otunula mikwano gyo tosobola bafunamu kakadde kamu bw'oba tosobola then olina emikwano emikyamu. The problem now is your friends and you yourself change your cycle.
The thing is people abeekubagiza bakwatagana n'abeekubagiza olugambo ne basimba emikono ne bakola olugambo. Have you seen men gossiping these days?
Yes, that's what I told you, that I have friends of my age bracket, but I also have people that I
talk about investment. They talk about hustling.
Like you see, for my case, I come to you when I know you're old and you're particular in this area. Nkweyogerezaako wamma omuntu waba afunye million 10 olonzirina naye sagala mugamba nti
akola atya
njagala ku investinga in this thing. They be like, oh, that's a nice one, but when you do this and do that, you will lose that money.
It's a trigger,
yes.
Aba agenda kuwa buli kyalina.
Wetomugamba nti nafunye million 10 akugambe bwe ndiba nfunye sente njagala kukola kino gokirowoozaako ki. These people that are old have literally seen it all.
Yeah.
They've done a lot of mistakes in their lives that if they had the opportunity to go back to the Denis of today, mistakes they would never make. So I utilize them a lot. So I know that when I am very low in terms of spirit, I need somebody to talk to me
to elevate
in a spiritual manner. I ran to Dr. Joseph Serrada.
Wow.
He's my spiritual father. If I am lacking in terms of finance or knowledge, I'll go to this person. So in your life, have people that are of different importance. Not just people you're going to hang out. Because my age group will literally think alike. We literally go out to have fun. I
know. What's trending? Try and error.
That is on a totally different level as you. Otherwise, abavuka fena we belong to the 20%. Ngawe nagambye muba 20% that rule the world, they don't send invites. They don't invite. Ate boyingiramu okuvaamu, it's very easy. Okusigalamu.
That's true.
It now depends.
It takes
the thing is soko samboluji. You will figure it out.
Nagambe surprise, I am here.
Surprise, nange
I am here.
Gacha
tuina katebe nti tujja kushare.
Kakati katebeko kakali wali. Naye jjukira ngawe nakugambye mu 20% teyeyongerako. Go okusamba olujjo yingiramu kitegeeza waliwo afulumye. There's somebody that has been kicked out. Alwana ayagala kudda. Kakati gwe bweweesiriwazaamu kaawo nga bakuzzaayo ate okuddayo kyangu na nnyo.
I know ate okuddamu okusamba kubanga buli ayingidde agamba wange oluggi mu lunyweze.
Mu lunyweze tetukyayagala bantu okitegeera. So we need to strive very hard as young men and women so that we make impactful decisions that can impact ourselves. It just starts with your mindset. So ngenda ku NTV omusajja oba omuntu gwe nasinkanayo mukyala sagala kubeera particular. No, namulaga nalina ka laptop ke nali nkolerako ku ssomero and I showed them that hey, I can actually anchor. Trust me, I was not very perfect but close to good. In that singa omuntu yali antutte, they could just train me for a month or so, katono, and I got better. So this gentleman breaks my heart, or this lady. I again don't want to be very particular. So it's a gentleman or a lady. Breaks my heart, tells me, you know what, here, first of all, we don't employ diploma holders. I'm like, okay. Secondly,
like frankly, like that, where do people get their audacity?
Maybe it's a company policy. I honestly don't blame them.
No, like even if it's a company policy, wrap it up well, package it well. Do not just throw it on. Yeah. Do you mind taking another course and updating your? Maybe that's what you wanted them to, but they told me. And I'm actually very glad. How about I just tell you there is no vacancy?
Yes, that would be better. But I think I appreciate them to have told me that, because then it pushed me to become what I am today. So another thing they tell me, one of the things that they appreciated, I had a good voice, broadcast voice. Now for me, that was like, oh, he has actually appreciated my voice. It means I just need to work on a few other things, maybe get a degree, and I'm good. So while I was leaving NTV, there's a lady who is now the minister. I don't know whether she has been switched or not. Agnes Nandutu. She was still at NTV by then. So because she's my tribe mate, I kind of had a conversation in the corridors. Like, Denis, you see, yes, those are good comments, and then they're bad. But what I can advise you, go to these small stations, do your thing there. From there, they're going to notice you and they're going to come for you. Whatever they have said, they will rub it off and they will put you here. And indeed, it happened. But before it happened, I left at least feeling motivated. She had encouraged me. Yes. But I also needed to prove this other person that you were wrong. Yes. So I left NTV TV, I went to NBS. I don't know, but I think God has blessed me with ladies that have helped me. Ladies
love humble people. They
think
love
so.
hardworking, committed people.
I'll tell you that my story is 90, if not 100%, women related. A few, I think 2 or 1 or 3 men.
And they pick the vibe very quickly.
So there's a lady that used to work at NBS. Her name is Eunice Kwanji, I think. So when I got a contact, I called her. She was very okay. She was like, hey, Denis, it's okay, come around. Let's see what we can do. So she looked at me. She's like, you're actually good. But talk to this person. So the person they gave me actually frustrated me. Like there is a lot that he put in place that I could hardly go through at that time. So I was like, you know what? It's okay. He killed my morale. That person. But one of the things that I want to tell you, God works in ways we do not see.
Mysterious
The
ways.
same person.
The one that frustrated you?
Yes, is the one that welcomed me back to NBS.
So how do you make that switch, the turn around to go out and then come back?
So I went. Luckily, I got a place at WBS.
Okay.
The then WBS.
Yes.
Where
they are right now.
Sits.
Yeah.
Yes. Rather in NBS sits.
Yes.
So I was called. I did a screen test. They said I'm very good. I was, like I told you, I was good.
Yeah.
I just needed a little bit of polishing.
Yes.
But I was good. I had the voice. I'd trained for this. I had a lot of things I was doing in the background because I knew what I exactly wanted.
Yeah.
So they give me space as a news anchor for sports and reporter. So I did my thing, but life was again very hard. By that time, WBS was going down
swiftly.
Yes. So I said, what next? So before it completely closed, I switched. I went to Vision Group. Now, Vision Group was equally not very easy, at least entering there.
To penetrate.
So I didn't go through the front doors. I went through the back doors. I don't know if this makes sense, but let me explain. Front door is when they advertise, you apply, they give you a job.
You go through the process.
The back door is, I met a lady called Mary Flavia Namlindwa. You probably know her. She's now in the US. One of my best friends. I love her with all my heart. She connects me to another lady called Emily Mwevaze. I no longer call her Emily Mwevaze. I call her Mommy because she really took me on like her own child, nurtured me, trained me into the man that they saw on TV. So Mary connects me to Emily, and it wasn't easy because even when I went for auditions, screen tests, you know politics, they cannot employ you who is outside when there's somebody here who is already vying for the same position. So I missed out. I did screen test like 7 times, even when I was at Vision. So here's the thing. So I came in as an intern. And while I was doing my intern, of course I wasn't an intern. I'd already even graduated.
Please see what I'm doing.
Yes. So for me, I was like, let me show them. I honestly was showing them. And I was good. So one morning, I wake up, somebody had been fired from their job. Munange, ngoloza tebampa mulimu. They had seen me do some editing video. So this gentleman's like, hey Denis, can you edit? I'm like, sisobola. But I saw you editing. Yeah, I edit, but it was my own. I didn't know that it wasn't any different from what they were doing. So there's a gentleman called Paul Waniala. He actually still is at Vision Group. So he says, Denis, I'm going to train you. And 1 week down the road,
you become an editor.
Very perfect at what I was doing. So I was now working at the speed. You know, news is speed. It has the news is breaking. You need to break the news as well. So I worked on my speed 2 months. I was very good, but I was not paid for 8 months.
Oh,
straight. And I speak this because I left.
Kati
imagine
Vision
somebody,
Group and Chengeta.
You now know, like they are in the opposite
You have to
worlds.
eat, you have to move.
The best that they did for me, that I negotiated at that time, was being given transport of 10,000 per day. Now, this 10,000 meant nina okukeekereza ennyo ndyeko. Nina okukeekereza ennyo. Kakati, I went for months without paying rent. I'm glad that wherever I stayed, I was a very humble boy. Nga buli wembeera abantu banjagala. I remember that kati mukyala mukadde akuliridde. Agamba, it's okay, Denis. Wonofuna sente. But of course, you know, they need them. Yes. Every time I go to Chengera, unless I'm in a rush, I have to go there. Mama uli bulungi, you know, we catch up and stuff like that because she was yambererawo. So, omutwalo gwange guli gwe bampa. Gwen signing buli lunaku. So I used to sign, okay, like on a Monday I signed for 7 days. I used to even not take offs because I wanted to be able to
every day that you come to be able to get that cut 10K.
Yes, that cut 10K. I worked for 8 months.
Wow.
Without pay. But they had promised that the moment, usually, like I told you, it was a backdoor thing. So they're waiting for the official employment contracts where people resign. For example, if you've been a continuing, they sign, I think, around June or July. All the staff. Yeah,
before the new financial year.
Yes, so they made contracts to expire within that period. So they said, within that time, we shall also give you a contract to fully have you as an employee. That meant that all my money that I'd worked for around 8 months were going to be paid.
Okay.
Mukwano, yadde ekikumi.
Tewashirabako.
Natuuka ne signing a contract, ne manja sente. Nanga manyi Denis. Management. Esazeewo togenda zifuna.
Word from above.
Nakaaba.
Nenga above waliwo bamanyi.
Nali bamanyi. Above usually over bamanyi. Most especially mu company. Because Vision Group is a government owned.
Yeah.
Naye ate ababeera in control because that's just a decision of a human being saying, oh, okay, approved.
Senteze,
it's okay, senteze. You know, kulumirirwa. Let me tell you, nalumwa.
Obuntu bulamu.
Yes. Naye ekyanzizaamu amaanyi nti nali nfunye contract nga bagenda at least kumpa kasente. Nze jjukira ekirine kye nali nkola kali kakadde kamu. Because buli we na editinga nali nkola emitwalo 3 kitundu buli lunaku. So nga nekusaane nga wenkugambye nze embeera zange nga nzimanyi nali nzijja nenkola. So that meant that nali nkolera kakadde kamu. Resikoze on Sundays nali nfuna emitwalo nga 86 something like that. The good thing with these media houses that I've worked for, akasente kawe katono naye okafuna era toliwulirako New Vision nga bagitutte nti tasasudde bakozi oba Vision Group nali nfuna kakati nembeerayo then naye nga nze siri mumativu. This is not what I really wanted. Nakikola because kyekyaliwo nga kinyingizaawo. Let me tell you this again, it's on record. How you get into a company is not important. Get there. Oba oyingidde nga cleaner, oba oyingidde nga atwala amawulire, oba oyingidde nga aweereza emmere, yingira ebirala byonna ojja be figuring out. Naye gwe neweekulembeza
oyagala kuyingira ng'oyingali waggulu.
Nze njagala kubeera ku TV muganda wange ng'omanyi abali awo already abagala that sport. Kakati the first important thing is enter into an organization. How is not the question, but have you entered? Because if I'm working here at Spirit TV or FM as a cleaner, there's a notice board usually where they say they are calling out for people, but also put in banange webabaawo kantu mungambanga such that in case
you even get to talk to people.
Yes, they even get to know you such that once that opportunity of a job comes through, nobody can compete with you.
That's
because
true.
You're already here.
Yes, they know
you take the comparative advantage. But the moment you say, I'm
waiting until
for this one, my friend,
you'll never get
that job. So that is the only advice I could give in relation to this. So 8 months down the road, I'm like, guys, I want to do reporting. How I played that is a story for another day because it's a really long one. Because they didn't want to hire anybody, somebody else to come again, train and do the video. They thought I had gotten used to it.
As employers,
yes.
When we know that you do a good thing, we don't want you to change. But it's upon you to want it more than.
Now let me tell you something about me. Lately, there's nothing I can't do. just
You
show
can
me
do it all.
what do you want me to do. This one, I will do everything
To learn it.
learn it and get better.
Now that's the heart.
Yes, because
and people don't have that these days.
Because obumiyo nja kuletera yo story. Kakati ne tubawo ne conversation until I was laid off as a video editor, given a new role of a news reporter. Kakati awo ne manya tukoze eki
Display
tutandise olwo. So
nga bakulabako wali omwana w'embale
gwe nakole gulire. And let me tell you something interesting. Abantu abaliwo already nga bakola amawulire nakola nze amawulire ne mbayitamu, and I was very good. That is why I was among the first people to be deployed to cover the president.
Wow.
I was deployed to go to Somalia to cover the army Bientalo. Yes, Somalia, Al-Shabaab, blah blah. Bantu Somalia.
The resilience.
And let me now, this is what makes me tick. I went as a one-man army in Somalia. Nakola news for New Vision. Nenkola news for Urban TV. Nenkola news for Bukedde. Nenkola news for TV West and some, I think, XFM. Omuntu ogu.
Wow.
Nganze nkola ebintu by'abantu nga batano ba mukaaga. Ogu.
Naye ate nga bali ku ground bakwesiga because bakulabye.
Chobola abagamba ani gwe tusindika. Denis Dukwoni ya.
Self-contained.
Yes. Buli kimu, I got my camera ne laptop ze ngenda buli gulire nga we mala coverage, you know, it's not easy. It's a war-torn area.
Yes.
It's an experience on its own. Wow. So I went, I delivered, and that for me was like, olaba kwesiga, you know, this meant a lot. Then echamale enviri ku mutwe kwe kuba nti bannesiga nembanga I was covering the president. So every time there were any functions to do with the president, even for Bukedde TV, nzondaba ndi musajja mugeso oluganda lwange luli ish.
Yes.
Naye olaba bali bantuma nga bwe batuma omuntu nga bwe batuma Denis baba bamanyi oyo ali self contained tetwetaga tumuwerezeeko omuntu yenna nja kuba
mu luzungu
akube ne mu Luganda kati abooluganda kye nabakoleranga ekinene ennyo nga script yange ngiwandiika bulungi then they just transcribe naye nga bites zo nzifunye za mu Luganda. That meant kati bobeera Bahati nga nkujjako bite nkujjako ya luzungu neyo Luganda bwoba olira nga oyogera Lunyankole
ate jjukira oyogera bulungi nabo abantu
bwoba oyogera Lunyankole because we had TV West so that is how I was multitasking. In this generation we are in, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not a multitasker,
so many gems, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it.
You're not, because
you can't depend on one thing.
Every employer is looking for that one person
who'll give them extra value.
Yes, that can. Bwe mutuma wano agenda kunkolera ekyo bwakola kino
ate ajja kulowooza ne ku kino alowooze ne ku kino.
Kati where do I get this inspiration? Bale Francis, the late, he was my lecturer. He tells me, Denis, bw'oba oyagala kuwangula mu nsi muno, be very good. Nze ndaba ku UBC nkoze amanyanga mangi tebasobola kungoba because I'm good. Bangobenze baleetaani okitegeera. So every time I am assigned something, I make sure that I deliver beyond
what they expect.
I remember when I just joined NBS, you're still new, learning the process, but they feel your presence. On a day when you don't come, everybody knows Denis didn't come. It's not like I'm so good. No, I am passionate about the little things that I do. When you give me something, I would go to a field or nothing. And they don't pay you to do, and I don't want you to commend me. Oh, Denis, I know that if I am at a job, I am paid to do good things. If you fault me for doing bad,
you don't have to pay me extra in order to do extra value.
No, I give you. Of course, nja kunyumiza lwaki nva mawulire. Kakati me, when I would come in the morning, I would do, in the morning meeting, sometimes I would go for, go to the field, do this. Nenga ngawe nakugambye nze bontuma otuma wano nenvayo nonzizeno nga sikugambye konti newe mba nkoye. I think I'm just hungry for good things. So Kuni vision intandise ku reportinga ngenze president Somalia nkoze stories puliranga azo nanzimazeeyo. Kakati naye nga sinatuuka nze ku kiruubirirwa naye njagala kubeera ku TV nsoma amawulire obadde ki
You guys, I have to make this promise because I know we need Duke back. I know we need another round of Duke because this story, there is no way we can miss out on the because juiciest part.
There is actually the juiciest part.
I know we cannot miss on the juiciest part, but again, our time and the producers are saying, you know what, time is done. But I promise you, I'm going to hunt him down. If I have to do anything to bring him into, we have to do a part 2 of this because I am eager. It's like I was watching a movie.
You've not gotten to know when I leave.
I know. What do you do next? Because
what does the world?
No, like and that is why I wanted us to live at the hype of it. Of as in, I feel the value, and I believe there is a way mukama waka kanyazo mutima go for certain things because he believes there is better that he's taking you to. So that's why I'm saying the juiciest part is what I want to hear, and let's wait for it. It's coming in part 2. But otherwise, I love you. I don't know what to tell you because to komye makati, but. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Even what we have shared is life-changing. But I know that there is more life-changing things coming. So from us to you, Banai mutukirize. I know I feel so bad, but mutukirize. Have a great one.